A big hello and a very warm welcome to Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. This week, Brand Equity travels at lightning speed. Right on top is a candid interview with Charles Wright of Wolf Holland's, the brain behind the Hero Motorcop makeover. Moving to Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, the film that has done wonders for Spain. Inflow of Indian tourists to Spain has almost doubled post the release of the film. And Air Asia is now a little over a month away. We tell you what's in store. Now, all of you know that Hero Honda is now called Hero Motorcop. All of you have seen the new commercial, Hum Mein Hai Hero. From Desh Ki Dhadkan to Hum Mein Hai Hero, there is no denying that this shift is pretty dramatic. But how and why Hero Motorcop? Why the angular logo? Why has the color red been retained? And what went into this massive rebranding exercise? To answer all these questions, I'm joined by Charles Wright of Wolf Holland's, the man who's the brain behind the facelift, the man who's helped Hero come into its own without the Honda. Thank you so much for joining us, Charles. Truly a pleasure to have you on Brand Equity. I'd like to take you back in time when Hero first approached you. You know, what does a strong leadership brand like Hero go through when it is forced to go in for a major makeover? What are their fears and insecurities?
So the first time that I met with Pavan Munjal, which was back at the beginning of the year, far from showing signs of insecurity, he was radiating confidence. And he said this isn't a divorce, it's an amicable separation. What he said was, we've decided after almost a generation of a really successful partnership with Honda to go our separate ways. Question is, from a branding point of view, what do we do next? And I think the key is to be dealing with the principals behind the company, the promoters, because they can take decisions. It was their decision to separate.
My question is that when Pavan Munjal did come to you, he came to you with an open slate saying, what do we do next? And he took your word for it? Or did he have an idea himself as to where he wanted to see Hero Motorcop go?
He was very clear that it was a big step, that it was firmly in the public eye, and that they needed to get it right. So as well as talking to us, I'm sure he did talk to others. The way he put it to me was, Hero Honda means something, Hero means something, Honda means something. Question is, what do we do going forward? We need to know, and we need to know how quickly we can do these things.
And what was your response?
I said that we'd love to help because it is such an iconic brand that I didn't know the answer straight off, because if I did, he probably wouldn't need to talk to me. Where we started was with market research, because the company had a lot of market research, which they'd already done, on what people thought of Hero, what people thought of Hero Honda. Yeah. And the initial reaction in the press, I think, was that with Honda and Hero parting ways, Hero would lose its engineering flair, because the suggestion was that Honda brought that. That was one of the concerns that, if you like, the identity had to express, as well as a statement of confidence about international expansion, because that's the thing he talked about even in our first meeting.
So what was your market research findings really? I mean, what was Hero and what was Hero Honda in isolation?
So Hero Honda is in the heart of almost every Indian. That was very clear. Hero itself was associated with, for example, bicycles.
Absolutely.
So one of the obvious questions was what to call the brand going forward. Because the funny thing is that when someone buys a motorbike, they don't necessarily buy a Hero or a Hero Honda, they're buying a Charisma or a Splendor. The thing that struck us actually was that Hero is a tremendously strong brand name, one of the strongest in India. Can we tweak the meaning of it slightly so that without Honda being attached, it can mean a dynamic, confident two-wheeler business, and in the future other things, and that could work internationally. We then moved on to, well, what's the proposition, or what's the story behind this brand? And the thing that struck us very clearly was that buying a motorcycle, buying a two-wheeler here, changes the social and economic circumstances of someone, whether they're in a village or in one of the big metros. It makes the person independent. It means they can take their family here, there and everywhere without either walking or relying on public transport. And therefore, actually, the brand should be about celebrating the common man or the common woman. So we made it about the experience, the emotion, the result of buying the product, which Our term for that was catapult, which is to say it catapults someone's circumstances. That's a bit inelegant, and the ad agency translated that much more elegantly, and then, as we know, it became a song with A.R. Rahman.
Right. Do you actually believe Hero MotoCorp brings in the engineering side to Hero Honda?
But the MotoCorp part is the company name. That's not the brand name. That's not what you're going to see on the dealerships. It's not what you'll see on the product. In future, it will be Hero Charisma or whatever the product is.
It's interesting you say that Hero is the brand name and Hero MotoCorp is the company's name, because all the pieces of communication that you see, whether it's at the dealership or even the commercial,
yes,
it says Hero Honda is now called Hero MotoCorp. So I don't really know if the audience is really so sophisticated to understand that it's Hero the brand name and not Hero MotoCorp.
They're trying to establish the point that the company exists, but the brand, I'm drawing a rather fine distinction, is Hero.
Hero is going to go and be Hero on its own, and I think very deservingly so.
But I think over time, people will get Hero. That song is so powerful. Going onto YouTube and things like that, it's got so many downloads that something must be working.
You know, if you can also now throw some light on the whole color scheme, and you know, why you decided to stick with the red color and this whole angular design that you have. I mean, if you can go through what the thinking behind that was.
The logo is deliberately angular and sharp, in almost contrast to the rest of the brand, which is warm and about people. And the idea there is to hint at engineering. So the company has built and is building a large engineering team, and they wanted to suggest we're as much about engineering as we are about all these other things to do with social change. So the logo itself is very sharp and angular. The H is stamped and is almost 3D, and the angularity is engineering. The colours, which was your other question, are about continuity. Red.
Okay.
Why give up on red? It's very strong.
Just like brand equity. Look around.
This is all around me here. So I'd hasten to add, we weren't influenced by these colours. But if you think of a crowded street, whether in Bombay or somewhere else, you want to be able to see the dealership 200 or 300 yards away. So the challenge for the designers was not just the logo, but how do you put the name of the dealer in such a way that you can see it hundreds of yards away?
I have a very fundamental question. Do you really believe a logo really impacts who the brand is finally?
No.
No. Wow. You don't. I'm really asking you this question because of the fact that, you know, Wolf Ollins, and you're a brand consulting company, doesn't have a logo at all. I mean, look at this one, for instance. You have this, which is just Wolf Ollins written in some manner, and then you have this, which is Wolf Ollins written on a smoked glass screen. I mean, it's very interesting. Why do you not have a logo, and what is the significance of a logo?
I think sometimes it's quite a good question to ask a client, why do you need a logo?
Okay.
Because that's a way of writing our name, and the beauty of that on a business card or on a piece of literature is every time it prompts this conversation. So it's a cheap trick of the trade to provoke a conversation, if you like. Some businesses don't have logos, but they'll write the name in a way that you recognise the way it's written. GE is like that, PwC is like that. There are plenty of examples like that where the emphasis is on the name of the company rather than some separate logo. The power of having a strong logo is that you can then cut the name. Think of Nike. You just see the tick and you know it. Whereas for many years they had Nike and the tick together. In the case of a two-wheeler, the person who buys one is buying a motorbike. They're buying what it offers them in terms of freedom of mobility. The logo is a trivial piece of that. They're buying a story, and the role of the brand there is to attract their attention and make them believe that this product is right for them and that this company understands them.
You've launched a commercial called Hum Mein Hai Hero, and I can guarantee that, you know, it has struck a chord with most Indians. But what is the brand going to do, or what is going to follow from the Hero Group that will actually demonstrate the commitment to the line?
Company is committed to launching new products, and I think that it was interesting, therefore, that when Pavan Munjal announced the brand to the world, he did it in London, but he did it after revealing new products. and after announcing an international expansion plan. So for him, and I think I would say he's absolutely right, the brand is the product. And the thing that will make this true is when Hero continues to develop new products in line with what consumers in India and other countries in the future want. That's the best proof.
You know, Wolf Ollins has got some decent amount of work going for them in India, half of which you won't talk about, but a lot of brands for Tata, I believe, you know, Ashok Leyland, 2 more that you're working on that you won't talk about. So you've clearly got a lot of business running here. When are you looking to open and set shop in India?
We, at the moment, are servicing India from Dubai, but I'm on the ground every week in India. And the question that we've debated is, were we in India, which city would we go in? The obvious one's Bombay. Now, funnily enough, there's a bizarre twist to this, because every Indian company to whom we speak ask that question. But they then go on to say, in their more relaxed moments, particularly if we win the job, that had we been in India, they might have hesitated and they might have paid less money, because there's a presumption that if they're buying from outside, particularly from London, where our company's based, or from New York, that in some way it must be better. And I think that's a phase that the country's going through that will pass. I think before too long you'll see big international branding consultants based in India and international branding consultants from India, because I think India has a lot to teach the world in this regard.
That was truly enlightening. Thank you so much for joining us, Charles. Truly a pleasure to have you on Brand Equity.
Thank you, Sonali.
That was Charles Wright of Wolf Ollins, the man behind the massive brand restructuring that's now called Hero MotoCorp. Time to take a quick breather, but coming up, we tell you a rather interesting story about a Bollywood film and the impact it's had on Spain. That's right, we're talking about Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara. We'll be right back.